Greetings, fam. This is Rom Wills about that business. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Yeah, that's some wisdom I got. I was at a lecture many years ago by this spiritual teacher, right? And he was talking about many things, and one of the things he talked about was how to build a business. He said, if you want to build a business, you take 3 steps forward, but then 2 steps back, right? And his meaning was, you don't want to build the business too quickly to the point that you go out of business. You know, if you're building a house, you're building a 3-story house, you have to first lay the foundation, right? You got to lay that foundation first, then you got to build the first floor. That has to be sturdy, and then the second floor. See, a problem with many businesses, sometimes people, they try to grow too fast, you know, and they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the infrastructure in it, or, you know, they don't want to start from the bottom. Like, I remember this dude, right? He was building like a employment agency, right? But he was spending money on like a big, you know, this expensive office, and you know, at the time, this was many years ago, he was paying like $800 a month, and at the time, that was a lot of fucking money. I think that was like late '80s, right? Especially for somebody, you know, he working full time and everything. It was nice and ambitious, but he had the office. Eventually, he didn't really make it because yeah, he had the office space, he had all that. He didn't have any contacts. He didn't have any people coming to him. He wasn't. They were like, okay, yeah, you got all that. Do you have actual people, you know, who can do the jobs we need them to do? That dude should have started in his living room or his basement. You know, start off small, go forward a little bit, then come back. You know, see what changes he need to make. Like, let me give another example. You know, I had spoken about in a previous video how, you know, the co-parent used to make cookies for, you know, a couple stores and a couple restaurants in the Baltimore area, right? Now, what if we got to the point, you know, that we really stuck with it and we said we were going to build this, we're going to make this a major bakery and stuff. Now, what if we got to the point we say, you know what, okay, we know how we can deliver to these 4. Why don't we just establish contacts with about 50 more places and deliver cookies? You know, that wasn't taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. That would have been taking 5 steps forward and not a step back, and we would have failed. Reason why, we weren't at a place where we could fulfill orders for that many places. If we, like, hypothetically, that didn't happen, but hypothetically, we weren't at a place. If we were going to do that, we needed to build like from 1 store to, you know, if we got 4 places, we needed to add 1 other place, then 1 other place, and then gradually figure out, you know, find a place where we could like make cookies in bulk instead of in the kitchen. You know, maybe get a professional kitchen or something like that. You know, we had to do it slow. Because the problem, you know, the problem with and there's a lot of businesses that do that. They actually grow too quickly, but then they get to a point they don't have an infrastructure in place to deliver the orders or whatnot. And the infrastructure is more than just creating a product, but you also have to have people who work there. You might have to have managers, accountants, you know, delivery people, depending on what you're doing. You have to have a lot of stuff, and you need to build that slow. You see, a lot of times you're just not ready. But by taking 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, you can slowly build up that infrastructure. You know, like let me use another example. My favorite example is always a bookstore. I always say if I get a brick and mortar store, it'll probably be a bookstore, because I love books, right? But I would start off small. I would start off with a kiosk or something. Or maybe if I went into like one thing with flea markets nowadays, they're becoming more and more like mini shopping centers or mini malls now, because you can get some good stuff there. A lot of people start there. Because they got good traffic, and especially if they have an Amish market there. I know, in the Maryland area, they usually have the Amish at these flea markets, so people coming in there to get some food, all right? So I'd start there, but I would start off small, develop how I'm going to sell everything, develop the infrastructure, how I'm going to pay people, how we going to get customers in there, and then build off of that. I wouldn't start with some big, large space somewhere in some mall or something. I might not have the infrastructure for it. I'm going to start off small. That's the thing about taking 3 steps forward and then the 2 steps back. You can see what works, what doesn't work, what you need to throw out, what you need to adjust. It's a very important thing. You want to just build it up nice and slow. Then you have a good foundation. Because like I said, there's been plenty of over the years, and sometimes if you can know how to follow it, there's been many a company that all of a sudden came out of nowhere, built something up and then disappear almost overnight. All of a sudden they closing all their locations. And it's always because they expanded too fast or too much. They thought, hey, all these people want our stuff, and they usually get some investor, throw some money at them. All of a sudden they're like, hey, this is a great idea, let's expand it across the country. And then the company don't have any people who started the company, they didn't have any plan in place. Then all of a sudden the investors say, hey, let's bring some people in. And there are many stories of people losing their companies like that. So you want to build it up so it's still your baby. It's nice and slow, and actually a good way to keep other people out of your pot. Because investors, when investors come in, one, they trying to make money. Two, there's some investors, they kind of slick. They looking to buy that thing from you. That's one thing I probably need to do a video on. If you got a business, you always got to worry about somebody buying it or trying to buy it. And throwing some money at you. And that's why a lot of businesses end up losing control over their mission, because they expand, they need help expanding, and then the people who help them expand say, hey, you gotta do it like this. But no, if you take those 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, do it nice and slow, nice and easy, build up everything, reinvest profits. Shoot, you can keep control over it, and you could be like, that's all right. I ain't trying to expand like that. People say money. See, the thing is, people, get a little greedy and stuff. Like, nah, you want to sit back and, build it up, build everything, and maintain control over it. That's how you want to roll with that, right? So, always do it that way, y'all. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. That's all I got for today. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.